What's going on, everybody? It's Owls. I realize there's been a lot of discussion about tunneling lately in DBD, and I think trying to over-edit my videos has made me kind of miss out on a lot of the discussion. So I'm just going to talk and go over some points and see what we think. So, first of all, this is from a survivor perspective. I don't really play killer much at all. I do every now and then for events or like just to fuck around, but that's about it. Tunneling is, first of all, it's an effective strategy for winning. You know, I don't know if that means it's good or bad, or I'll go into that, but it's definitely effective, and you'll see it in comp tournaments or high level play all the time, which is another thing too. Like, this isn't about comp, this is about tunneling in general. Mostly matchmaking, solo queue, all that stuff, and mostly hard tunneling. I'm not really concerned about like the kind of opportunistic or like the soft tunneling kind of thing. That stuff's fine with me, I think. And in general, I don't mind tunneling myself because I like being chased. Chasing is the most fun part of the game. Being chased is the most fun part of the game. But it doesn't change the fact that I think it's overall bad for the game. It's a negative. And I want to go into why I think that is. So what is tunneling? Most people will classify tunneling as just killer going straight after one survivor, maybe the first one they find, maybe their obsession, maybe some other reason, and they just focus them out of the game. And that would include like kind of lingering around the hook, proxy camping, I guess they call it, or they might fuck off if it's like blight or something that somebody can get around the map. And then the second they see the unhook, they're right back to that guy. And they do it because it makes the game easier. 3v1 is easier than 4v1. When you have someone on hook and somebody has to go get them, it's two people off of gens. It's like pretty self-explanatory why it's good. And the other thing too is people like to talk about how, I might have accidentally tunneled this guy. Well, it's like the problematic type of tunneling where your first 3 hooks or first 4 hooks are like a kill. It doesn't happen on accident unless everyone's wearing the same skin, same character. Like that's not happening on accident. Okay, so if it's an effective strategy, why is it a problem? Well, for one, it typically is like preying on new and inexperienced survivors. It makes the game like way less enticing or just fun in general. If you're booting up the game, imagine Five Nights at Freddy's comes out later this summer. Everyone's going to be joining. You're getting tunneled every game. That's not going to be good for them, I'm not going to keep booting up that game if I just am a non-factor in each match. It often requires, or at least people say, the survivors have perks they can bring to curb this kind of behavior. It's like, oh, you can bring anti-tunnel perks, but it's like nothing is asked of the killer to tunnel. So, for a new player, you don't have these perks. Even if they're not that inaccessible, they still have to grind if you're brand new. And then also sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going to be doing the chest build. And then they start tunneling you. Well, you're just shit out of luck because you decided to bring something that's kind of silly and not insane. The other thing is it's easier than a normal play pattern, which is like something people don't even talk about really. It's easier to tunnel than it is to just kind of like spread the love. And I know it sounds crazy to say that because you're like, oh the point of the game is to win, which is true, but you don't have to win in a way that's like, making everyone miserable. It's kind of a silly way to approach video games in general. It's like it's rewarding the killer for making the game less interesting. assuming they only care about winning, you know. And it trivializes each match that it happens in too, which is not good, you know. It's like the whole game becomes centralized about trying to not let this person get tunneled, especially if you're altruistic, which, you know, guess what? It's a team game. People are going to be altruistic. The other thing too is a lot of players who are like toxic, their toxic behavior comes through tunneling. And this community is anything but non-toxic, you know. It's got to be one of the most toxic communities I've ever been a part of. You know, besides the us versus them, that's a whole other topic I could discuss forever. But people worried about like a change to this making people leave, like those, it's probably good if people like that are leaving the game. You wouldn't want to make a change that makes a lot of people leave the game, but leaving toxic behavior in the game because you're afraid of those people leaving, it's like it doesn't really make sense. So what are the solutions for this tunneling situation? And for one, I kind of covered it earlier, but perks are not the solution. That's just not the way to go. Like, expecting survivors to bring perks to solve it, it just limits survivor expression and makes the game less interesting. If you're a survivor who wants to bring those perks to curb that, you should absolutely do it. But you shouldn't be expected to do it, and that's the difference. Is people are like, oh, well, there's anti-tunnel perks, so bring them. And it's like, yeah, but I don't always want to play that way. The truth is, it needs to be disincentivized outside of a mechanical level. Like, as far as this is my perfect world for a tunneling solution. There should be blood point penalties. That would solve 90% of the solution or the issues, in my opinion. It sounds silly because it's a mechanic or a way people play, but so many people play DBD, they'll only boot it up. It's like, hey, there's bonus blood points. It's a blood fest or whatever the fuck they're called. Like, I'm gonna hop on, I'm gonna grind. Otherwise, I don't play. There are a lot of people who play for blood points, and if you disincentivize tunneling through blood points, it will change people's behavior. If you get a down after an unhook within so much time, you can incur a penalty. And then if there's a kill before 5 hooks, you give them a penalty or no points at all. Like, sounds harsh, but if you're playing to win and that's all you care about, then it doesn't fucking matter. You get to tunnel, nothing changes mechanically, everything's exactly the same. You already think it's fair, fine. And I also think, you know what? Give the tunneled survivor the penalized points. When you boot up a game and you get removed in the first 5 minutes of the game, 3 minutes sometimes, because they're just hard tunneling you, and then you walk out of that game with 1,000 blood points, it's like the most demoralizing shit ever. That sucks. And if you're a new player, really sucks. It's just bad, you know? It's a really bad feeling. It doesn't change or remove tunneling. You can still choose to tunnel if you want. You just shouldn't be rewarded for it, you know? And the other thing too, which I thought about a lot, is like, I wouldn't want to change that impacted competitive, because I think competitive is really cool. I wish behavior did something for them. I don't know what they could do, but it doesn't change the challenges for streamers. I know streamers are like a big, unfortunately, if they're doing like a win streak, I need to do 80 wins with Doctor. Yeah, you're probably going to end up tunneling or some other toxic behavior, but I get it. You know, a lot of the common like rebuttals you hear about tunneling, it's like, you know, it's just part of the game. It's like, that's true. Everything that's good or bad is in the game. It is part of the game. It doesn't really dictate if it should be changed or not. Like, it's not even an argument. Like, it's just part of the game. Well, okay, dude. Okay, cosmetics are part of the game. Maybe get rid of those. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was forced to tunnel. This is like so common. Dude, I don't want to name names, dude. There's streamers who just constantly, any sort of altruistic action from a survivor, which God forbid survivors work in their best interest, I have to tunnel them, dude. I have to tunnel them. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're never forced to do anything. You're playing a game. You're not. There's no stakes. You're willingly making the game worse for others. It's on you. There's no excuse. Don't blame the person playing the game. You're just playing the game that way, you know. Don't say you were forced to do shit. It's so annoying. Oh, my last game, the survivors, you know, they were a bully squad. They did, you know, X, Y, or Z. Like, this is just a personal growing moment for you. Your last match has zero impact on your current match. The people you interacted with yesterday don't dictate the people you meet today. It's really stupid. You got to get over that. It's another excuse for bad behavior, and it's like you're just making the game worse. You're just choosing to do that. I had so many bully survivors today, so I'm gonna make these next survivors suffer. It's like, come on, dude. It only happens every now and then. Tunneling's not even that common. This is like another one I see a lot. And this is something people don't realize. It's like the frequency doesn't matter. You don't police bad actions based on how often it occurs. It's like if it's a bad action, it's a bad action. You know, we're not looking at murder and going, well, it doesn't happen that often, so we're not going to fucking do anything about it. I know it's completely hyperbolic to talk about murder, but the point is, if you're a tunneling killer and every game you tunnel, every game he's in is there's somebody getting tunneled. And we just need to curb people from being that killer. If it happens every now and then, whatever. You know, but it's like, if you're the guy who's doing it every game, it's like, no reward for you, man. And the most common, I guess this isn't the most common rebuttal, but one of the things I see, you see this on Twitter, you see this on Reddit, so annoying, where killers will like, or people who mostly, you know, they're just mad at survivors. They'll post a survivor and they're running DS and Unbreakable and, you know, off the record, and they got a septic or a syringe. And the same killers who are telling you, like, oh, if you don't like being tunneled, just bring anti-tunnel perks. They will screenshot your build and post it on Twitter because they're mad you're running the build. It is actually the most hypocritical shit I've ever seen. Like, oh, dude, this survivor was flaming me in game chat, but look at his fucking build. And then it's everything you told survivors to bring. Like, you just can't have both. If you think powerful perks justify shitty play patterns, you have to embrace survivors bringing those powerful perks. It's just gonna happen. Like, and you're the guy who's instructing them to do it. If you do whatever it takes to win, tunneling included, you should expect survivors to do the same. That's it. If the game is all about winning all the time, and you can't comprehend that survivors are gonna bring things that are gonna help them win, you're crazy. Like, it's just like, you're crazy. That's really it. I didn't have like I just wanted to vent. I just see so much dumb shit about tunneling, you know. I really love DVD. Like, the community makes it so hard to love it though. And people will work in their best interests, like I mentioned, and they will ignore bad things from both sides. Like, if you're a survivor main, you'll ignore the bad survivor stuff. If you're a killer main, you'll ignore the bad killer stuff. And honestly, it's like everyone's kind of got to, you know, shut up and embrace these newcomers coming this year, because the game needs it. You just keep pushing away people with shitty behavior, and, you know, even the people who play for the last 10 years or whatever it's been, like, they're burnt out too. So it's like, you're just going to lose everybody. Like, we got to get this game in shape or we're fucked. So that's it. I don't mean to be Scott Jund at home. This was really fun. I'll probably do more of these talking videos in the future. But for now, take care and stay safe.